Cupertino, Palo Alto, Los Altos, or Mountain View. For that reason, it was a no-brainer for me to serve on Wagner Ranch's Technology Committee when asked. With some effort, our committee has raised over $45,000 to buy digital devices, laptops, and tablets for our school. These digital devices are the textbooks, libraries, and learning tools of today. They introduce our children to computation and a broad set of digital tools so that they can master new standards and complete assignments in math, science, humanities, and the arts. They also prepare them for standardized tests and the work that they'll do beyond middle school. We can't make this shift to a one device per child ratio on a shoestring budget. These positions are crucial to support these devices and offer the training our teachers need to provide outstanding learning experiences to our children. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Tanya Caragol? Did I pronounce your name right?
Yes, you did. So my name is Tanya Caragol. I'm also a parent of 2 children at Wagner Ranch. And I'm here tonight as it relates to, I believe, goal number 5 that was listed on the LCAP on the website. You're being very patient with Kathy's report. With regards to providing students with 21st century education, and also along the lines of what John just talked about, I've also had a long career in technology, working for Silicon Valley startups for almost 20 years. And I have a passion for technology and how it's changing not only the way we do business, but the way we live our daily lives, and in more recent years, how our children are learning at school. Last year I started a technology committee at Wagner, which John is now chairing, and I sit on the district's OTAC committee as well. I've also donated my own funds to the Wagner Technology Fund. For the last 3 years, I've also chaired Wagner's auction, and we have, for the last 2 years, put together a fund a need for technology specifically. And as John alluded to, we've raised over $45,000 specifically to spend on computer equipment at the school. So through these fundraising efforts, it's clear that the Wagner parent community is in full support of the use of technology in the classroom and would like our children to benefit from the learning advantages that technology offers. This year we're going to purchase enough computers to bring 1 Chromebook to every 4th and 5th grade student. With these purchases, the teachers and students will require a tremendous amount of support in the form of on-site technology staff, as well as additional training for the teachers. I'm here on behalf of the Wagner Technology Committee and the parent committee as a whole to ask for the district's support. We as a parent community feel that we are providing the funds to bring the equipment to the schools, but we're asking the district to provide the resources to support this cause. So the Parents Club of all 5 schools in the district have put together a petition that was distributed across, I believe, 4 of the 5 schools so far. And in a matter of 5 days, we have obtained over 530 signatures from the parents. So I wanted to just quickly read through the petition, if I may. The parent petition to the OUSD for technology support. With the new Common Core and the NGSS taking hold in our district, it is imperative that we have many more computers in the classroom than we have today to critically enhance our students' learning experience. The Parents Clubs are committed to the very challenging task of raising the funds to purchase the devices needed, but these devices will require district resources to support them. We ask the district to also commit to support the district's technology future, as stated in the OTAC report, technical support need objective number 1, to create a true technology department that will lead and support Orinda students and staff in the 21st century. This support should come in the form of more on-site technology aids, another teacher technology coach, and better and more infrastructure. We feel this is a high priority right now and ask you to add these resources to next year's budget. These resources would go a long way towards restoration of the services that were cut several years ago. In terms of details, we feel each school site needs a tech aid. We also believe that we will need 1 or 2 junior tech coaches to help Patsy Templeton with professional development for the teachers. And finally, as part of the facilities plan, bandwidth will continue to need upgrades as the schools move to a 1-to-1 ratio. So to reiterate, we request support from the district's general fund for number 1, tech aides at each site, and number 2, a junior tech coaches. From the facilities
Tanya,
fund,
if you can wrap it up.
yep, we request funding for bandwidth and back-end issues. So I'd like to thank you for your consideration, and we would like our petition to be part of your LCAP discussion.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Charles Shannon.
Charles Shannon, OEA President. This year it come to my attention that we have English language learners who required assistive technology in the form of an iPad who were non-English speakers. And this technology did not get to them until late in the second trimester. And that, to me, was something that we really need to work on. It was quite frustrating. I definitely empathized with the teacher. We did our best on our end. I was told that the technology was in the district, but it just wasn't ready. It was sitting somewhere. So I just want to make sure that, because that's a targeted group, that is an absolute priority. It really saddened me that a student with very little English skills was left to other methods of trying to keep up with the curriculum. So I do urge all of us to make sure that those students are a priority. Thank you.
Thank you. Other comments from the public during this public hearing? Seeing none, I'll close the hearing. This is back to the board for discussion. Seeing none, this is just, go ahead.
Yes, gotta talk fast here, sorry. I wanted to mention that, first of all, I want to thank the parents that spoke and everyone who just spoke at public comment. And mention that in addition to the, well, I don't know if all the board members received the survey that you mentioned, but if not, you might want to forward this wording of the survey to all of us if it hasn't already been done.
You mean the petition?
Yes, petition, I'm sorry, petition. And then in regards to Kathy Marshall referring earlier to surveys that we will be getting later for additional parent input. I know there's certain questions that were required for LCAP input, but I'm also aware that there was a survey question added regarding funding priorities, math, science, etc., aids, technology. And I just want to acknowledge, I've heard, anecdotally from various parents over the past several months that they do want to, they want the board to consider math and science and what, not saying necessarily a position, a staff position, but, possibly, or what are we doing for, math, and I don't know what page math is, but there's math in this LCAP, so that's why I'm saying this. Whatever page math is, we had a math specialist last year, and unfortunately he's not going to be with us next year. And so what are we doing for challenging and, any kind of math in the elementary school, math supplementing whatever, I don't want to offend anyone in the way of wording it, but the math that we used to have a math specialist, we no longer have. So there's that, there's science in one of the schools. I know we used to have a science teacher, and now we have a different model there, referring to Glorietta. And so I just want all of us to think about all of these things, math, science, aids, and all the technology. And I think we as a board need to have the conversation about what would we want to prioritize if we have any more money in the May revise, which we don't know right now, but it is projected that there will be money in the May revise. So it's our job as a board to think about prioritizing all these things. And I know we have not only aid, they mentioned aides, tech aides, tech coach or coaches, bandwidth, and I'm going to bring the bandwidth up under the priority discussion later. But we also have a part-time tech director, I just want to mention, 0.6 FTE. So we don't have a full-time tech director. If we were to add all these things, that would be a burden, I would think, to the tech director. I'm not a tech expert for those parents who are out there. Oh, that's louder. So for the parent that mentioned they were on the OTech committee and the other parents that are from a tech background, you know, I would love to hear, you know, further discussion as this goes on over this month about what to do. But I also want to say to the board, you know, I think we do need to consider prioritizing technology and math and science and have a conversation with the parents clubs about how we decide whether there should be more aides or not. Where, you know, I remember a long time ago when we did have, you know, this was before budget cuts, we did have a discussion about prioritizing our funding priorities even when we weren't, we didn't know whether we had more money. We talked about prioritizing them. And we also did that in the funding reductions when we had to do that. And Joe did a very good job of leading us through that process, which was very difficult and painful. I know Matt was on the board. I wasn't in those at that time. But I think we need to talk about that. And it's almost just as hard, I've heard, talking about if there is more money, what to do with it, as it is when there's budget cuts, what to cut. So that's what I've been told in the past by colleagues of mine in other districts. So I'm kind of recommending that we as a board talk about these issues a little bit before we move on to the next topic, because this is our best chance, and I would like to see us consider you know, even the discussion of the priorities for staffing, as I said, in the event that there is money in the May revise.
Anything else on the board?
Can I make one quick comment? We've done a great job tonight thanking people. I'd like to thank parents in the room, parent leaders in the room, for staying through this meeting, coming to our meetings, and helping raise this priority for technology. I think it's an important one too. I think it's helpful to have context that this is a discussion that goes in many places in our LCAP, in our budget conversations. We as a board are thinking of our priorities. We will have an opportunity to set district goals again. We have OTech. There are a lot of different places this comes up. I just wanted to make that thank you. It takes input from parents, from teachers, and others to sort of bring all the ingredients together to make what we all want to have happen, which is an environment that maximizes the ability for our kids to learn. I've seen the transformative effect of that, not only in my children. My wife had a career in high tech, so I just want to say thank you for raising that.
Anything else on the board? Okay. We're on to the next item, facilities priority project list. Ed Silvis.
So this is an update for the priority projects list we have. It's the same one that you looked at last month when I wasn't here. I apologize for
doing here. On the first page, the summary of Fund 40. And it just so happens that late this afternoon, Business Service Department didn't update it. Wait. Thank you. So the amounts didn't change drastically. But what we did with the new Fund 40 expenditure list is we grouped the projects as they will be grouped when they go out for bid. So if you notice, like at Del Rey, the roof over the hallway, the clear story windows, and the windows in the multipurpose room, that's all gonna be under one contract and one bid. So we're trying to do that to keep all the projects easier to track in the future. So this page is everything that's being taken out of Fund 40 at this time. And so far, they've used, the paid invoices are $3,115,916. And the balance is, remaining is $4,339,275. That's what's left we have to do in the project and the estimated costs. The balance in the actual Fund 40 is $9,070,101.45.
Questions from the board? Sorry?
Can you respond to the list of items from the last meeting and the issues around the map?
So some of the things that are not on here are the portables. So the portable cost to buy out the lease ones is $463,967. And the cost to replace our own.
Ed, I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Sure. The 14 portables that we currently lease, the cost to buy those out is $463,967. And there is going to be a change in that because Mobile Modular just sent out a letter today saying the state has put a crunch on them, and now they have to pay prevailing wage for what they used to call repair work, which wasn't prevailing wage. So they're gonna resend us a quote for the cost to upgrade the portables before we purchase them.
Ed, I'm not sure, is that here and you're correcting it, or is that not on our list, the portables?
That's not on your list.
Okay.
But I do have a handout I can give you on the portables if you'd like to see that.
Well, can you remind me what the status of that is?
Yeah, the board approved all of the lease portables to be purchased. And so far, we've just purchased the one from William Scotsman, since it was only one and it was really easy to do. And then Lorene was helping me with that, and then she left, so now I have to ask Teresa to help me get the other ones taken care of. And we just had all the prices updated on the cost of the portables, because it's been almost a year since we got the last prices. But actually, it came out pretty good. We saved about $30,000 waiting 1 year, because the prices dropped on the portables as they get older.
But those funds would come out of Fund 40 to the buyout of the portables, is that correct or not?
I'm not sure. I think there might be another place they can get the money to, from what Lorene used to tell me. I'm not sure. Was it developer fees, maybe? Developer fees.
Okay, I just couldn't remember, thank you.
And can we see that handout?
Sure.
and you were gonna tell us the portable, replacement cost?
Yeah, the portable replacement cost, for 17 units was $524,250.
Now it's just to replace it with new portables?
Yes.
And how many portables is that? I'm sorry.
That's 17, and we have 14 leased planes.
And I thought we had approved the replacement of all the boilers a while ago, did we not?
We did, and that's in the Prop 39
All of
portion
that?
that Tara Hurdy's doing.
And are those on this list?
I believe they are. I believe they said Prop 39 next.
Okay, and,
On the labor list.
They're not on the Fund 40 list, they're in the all projects.
okay. And the status of those, since we're talking about it, the boilers and the energy efficiency projects, is that correct? What's the status of those projects? Are they in process, or?
Yes, they're in process and getting ready to go out to bid.
And then will they be able to do them in the summer? Or what's the timeline look like, or do you know?
We'll have to see that when we get the bids from the contractors.
Okay. But those don't, those, even if they had to be done in the fall, they don't interfere with the school, or does it?
It does.
It does.
Yeah, because
So
the
we
boiler
hope
takes
they'll-
heat for a whole week, so.
Okay, so we hope they'll be able to be done in the summer. Yeah, okay.
So are there other projects that we could approve and get done this summer, like, for example, painting? Or that, like, we're pretty booked up for the summer?
We could, we're pretty booked up as it is, but if you do want to do some painting, we need to know now. We want to get done so I can get some bids on it.
Do you have the summer list here somewhere?
It's just in the all projects list. And in the progress column, it'll say summer, or completed. For instance, at Sleepy Hollow and Delray, we're removing the last asbestos in the district from those two areas and putting ACP tile down.
Right. Well, that brings up, the painting reminds me of the principals. Are you, what is your communication with the principals? Have they already been, asked or talked or communicated to about what you're planning to do in the summer, or if they have additional priorities this summer that maybe they, wasn't on the list the last time we talked about this?
I told them about all the projects that are currently on the block to go there at each site, but I haven't talked to anything that wasn't approved on this, like painting or anything like that.
And I wasn't sure if you got a chance to go through everything you wanted to go through before you started getting questions. You
Let's see.
feel like you covered everything you wanted to cover?
There was a question about the wireless. And so I called Raymond today. He said they're still pricing for the equipment for that and what types of options they have. And also they're looking into how to set up the wireless to get optimal connectivity through the schools.
That's at all 5 sites?
That's at the elementary sites.
4?
So once he gets that price, I think, well, first of all, that reminds me, there's the OAS wireless here. Is that going to be done in the summer?
I don't know.
You don't know. Well, they're going to work on it. You're saying you don't know if it'll be completed.
Yeah, I'm not taking care of the wireless
Oh,
portion.
you're not,
of it, so-
yeah, okay, so it's not your area, right? That's what you're saying, okay. Well, I just want to say, as a board member, can I make a comment, Matt?
Please.
As a board member, I hope that we could do as much as we can with that OAS wireless, knowing that they are buying more computers and wanting to buy more computers, and that's really important for the school.
It's
And,
listed under completed projects though, isn't it?
no, it says, yes, listed there, but it says in, project balance remaining 355, so, yeah, I don't know.
No, I mean, it doesn't.
Just means we
Okay,
haven't got the
so
checks.
you think they've completed it, but they haven't billed all the, they haven't sent all the money? Okay, well, if that's the case, that's great. And then back to the elementary wireless we were just talking about, I would like to propose that we, add something on this list for elementary wireless, because we've heard loud and clear that there are connectivity issues in the elementary schools. I know he was doing an inventory, so maybe it's more in some schools than others, but we know there's elementary wireless issues. So I would like to propose we add something here. I don't know if he has a number, but when Julie, can I mention what Julie and I met? Raymond said possibly around $200,000 for the elementary sites for wireless. So if we want to just put that in as a placeholder, I think that would be good. And I would encourage the district, if anything can be done about that this summer, would be great.
All this is right now, we're just having a discussion.
Okay.
We can't take any action.
Okay. Well, if my fellow board members agree with me about elementary wireless, they could speak up.
I thought we were just, Raymond was gonna get a quote and it was gonna be done in conjunction with the upgrades that were already scheduled. I thought that's what he said.
Julie, do you have any clarification on that?
Yes, first, what we're trying to do is go through Ed's list from the questions from the last board meeting. And one of those was the portables, and one of those was wireless. I think he had a few things on that list. And then I think the board could probably get into discussions, if you have any, about the priorities in that, but I don't think Ed's had a chance to finish his list. Ray is sick today and couldn't be at the board meeting, but he had already reported to the board that he was working on getting estimates and reconfiguring the elementary wireless program, upgrading, and so that's a process he's currently going through, and it's gonna take some time, and that's what he's doing. So when we get that, we'll come back. Unfortunately, he couldn't be here tonight because he was ill. So.
Yeah.
But I think we need to let Ed finish his list. So
Sure.
we can find out all the items that you already asked about.
And the portables.
Right. So the Prop 39, the energy, that's the boilers in the schools. It's I believe it's the heater on top of the gymnasium at the Isola gym at OAS. It's 3 hot water boilers at Sleepy Hollow. It's heating in the learning centers at Glorietta. And it's the boiler in the multi-purpose room at Delray. Also in that same project, there'll be energy management controls, lighting retrofitting, the T8 fluorescents. We're gonna take the metal halide lights out of the gymnasiums and put fluorescents in there. Also be motion detectors put in the classrooms.
The occupancy sensors?
Yes.
So is that all supposed to be done this summer?
If everything goes right, yes, that should be done this summer.
And hopefully that'll impact our electric bill, which will impact.
It should impact it quite a bit. And the other items, solar projects. We gave that to the board, to the principals. We got the first draft of the solar arrays on each property, and the principals looked at that, so Tara Verde and I are gonna meet with them again, and a couple of the principals wanna tweak them a little bit so they get a little better shade on their playgrounds. It's not optimal for the sun, but it'll still work. So that one's moving forward also.
So maybe you should clarify for the audience, that's about the location of the solar panels, right? That you're
Yes.
talking about, and the principals are looking at it for
Correct.
their site.
There's about 4 locations on each site.
And then that would come back to the board.
Yes.
Do you know the timing on that?
Not yet. I wish I did, but that's a pretty crunched project to try to get in this summer. But we could get the structures built this summer, maybe, and then they could put the solar arrays on during the school year. Because once you have the structure up, there's not that much noise to put the panels on top. Is there anything else you want me to list?
I think we covered it, if I remember right, unless the board has any other items that you.
Well, but you handed us these 2 pages on portables, and yet we didn't discuss it too much. Is it pretty self-explanatory? And you gave us the total amount for the buyout, and we're buying out the leased ones, which is the horizontal page. So can you remind me what the vertical page, what's the status of the vertical page?
That's all the portables we currently own, and the cost to replace them all. It also includes the demo and removal of the old portables, which we have to pay for to get rid of them, and architectural and inspection fees.
Okay, but we hadn't decided what, if anything, to do about those yet.
That's correct.
Okay, so that's the discussion to be had in the future. Okay.
We had conversations in the past about the age of those portables and whether we would want to replace them with new portables, which some like and some don't, or replace them with prefabs or some other type of structure that would be a little more costly, and we never really, because there was a general aversion to just replacing portables with portables and no agreement that we wanted to expend the amount that it would cost to do prefabs. We haven't moved beyond that.
Right, and
I think we'd asked for like a presentation also about like what the prefabs could look like and what some choices.
right, we were gonna revisit that, and that could be a big expense, and solar, we have yet to do. Even though, just so everyone understands, the solar location for the solar panels is gonna come back to us, we haven't approved a solar contract. We approved the contract with a consultant, but I just want anyone in the audience to not understand. There's all these different funding scenarios for solar, and we haven't approved how we would finance it or what funding scenario we would want to go with. Okay, so we have solar, these portables, and the rest of the facilities projects. That we have a lot of facilities projects and things to think about.
I mean, I know this is a discussion item, but I keep hearing over and over again about desire for painting. So,
Yeah, painting of the school,
it looks like there
school
would be
sites. I don't know,
450,000 to do all of them.
have you heard from all schools that they want it painted, or is it some schools more than others? I don't know if they're all the same age, the painting, or what.
I've heard from all school sites, they want their buildings painted.
I mean, they were all listed as pretty high priorities, and, there was certainly a sense that people were sad when that didn't happen last summer.
Yeah.
Ed has to guide us in what we can get done, but I think we're hearing a lot of interest in getting it done.
Yeah, there's a lot of painter contractors calling me every day.
Yeah, there you go. Well, that's-
So, what, if we want painting to happen, what do we have to do?
We have consensus on the board that we'd like to allocate the money moving forward to have the school site, have Ed move forward with taking a closer look at trying to get the school sites painted this summer.
Before we decide that, can you remind me, is that already an approved project on our list here?
No,
No.
we're listed on any projects.
Not approved.
That's right.
Okay, so,
Yeah, it's just like to hear the individual priorities, what each board member, I'm happy to hear what everybody thinks about painting the school sites. Obviously, we're not gonna take action.
So if we did want to take action, it would be a future meeting, or?
Right.
Okay, we'd have to agendize it?
Mhm.
Okay.
So Julie, it sounds like you're in favor of paying the school spending the money.
Mhm.
Okay. Carol, do you have an opinion?
No.
Sarah?
Yes, but I also would like to say I'd like to see the elementary wireless on here also,
Cool.
but painting also,
Okay.
yes.
Jason, your thoughts?
I'd like to see proposal on payment.
Okay.
Yeah, and to understand how much it will cost, and can they do all of them, or do they have to do,
It's individuals.
yeah, I know, but I mean, the summer's not that long, and, you know, some information on the schedule would be great, thank you.
Anything else on the board on the facilities priority project list?
Really small question on one of the items, and it's a small amount. Could you tell us in the in-progress, the Wagner Ranch nature area project?
Yeah, so far we've rebuilt some of the plant beds in there. And we tore up the walkway that was all uneven, the maintenance department. And they redid the borders and put new sand in, and it's all flat. It's beautiful. So that and there was an arbor that was falling over, and that's been taken care of. Looks pretty nice. Thank you.
Yeah, that's great. I have to say, I don't actually remember us approving that project. I mean, it's great to spend money in the nature area if there's safety projects, but we didn't really discuss it.
It's a maintenance item, isn't it? Yeah.
Okay, so I know all the other schools have gardens, and I don't know if Ed is looking at those too for safety issues or whatever.
Yeah, I've just met with Ron today at Gloria, and we're gonna do some work here this summer on some safety issues in his garden.
Thank you. Anything else on the board?
Okay. Maneuver on you. I'm trained.
Okay, this item was out for discussion only. Thanks a lot, Ed.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Next, we're at communications, board reports. It's an opportunity for board members to give a brief report on their activities from prior weeks. Well, I'll report that I was both at Glorietta and Sleepy Hollow Parents Club meetings, and just really impressed with the work by parents and staff at those school sites. Principals working closely with classified and certificated staff and parents for the good of the kids. So I was just really impressed with both my visits to Glorietta and Sleepy Hollow.
I'm going to report that I went to Rotary Field Day, which I haven't been to in years because I haven't had a child that age for a while, and I had one this year, and it was a lot of fun. And it's really, I didn't see you there, Jason. I don't know if you have someone in that age group,
No.
3rd, 4th, and 5th. I think they promoted Best at Delray because it's there, but there was a Sleepy Hollow contingent, and it's just a lot of fun for the kids. So it was fun.
Thank you. Other board member reports?
I am going to EFO Art Ambassadors Exhibit. Blew me away. Really talented people.
Yeah, I'd like to say I really appreciated the meeting that Julie and I had with our tech director. We met with him and with the superintendent here, the tech update, and that was really great. And I also want to mention, I went to the EdSource Symposium, I guess that was last week, in Sacramento, which was very interesting because we got to hear from the edge analyst who speaks at that event. And I also want to mention, in light of the fact that we've recently had a board governance workshop, that CSBA has this, you probably all received this today, but I brought extra copies in case you didn't, a similar thing about board governance that you can sign up for free. It's on May 20th from noon to 1, and it's by the CSBA head legal counsel guy. Here, pass that down to me. So it looks really good, and I just wanted to bring it to everyone's attention in case anyone's available that time. You can just watch it on your computer at home. Great, and I'm looking forward to attending our last Ledge Team meeting this coming Thursday, which is the day the May Revise comes out, and it just happens to be Thursday night is our Ledge Team meeting. It's going to be in Walnut Creek for the first time. They invite, I'm not in I'm just a lead rep, I'm not involved in scheduling what the agenda is, but they invited Patty Wool, who's the Walnut Creek superintendent. Walnut Creek, in case anyone doesn't know, has had a lot of growth. They've had a lot of enrollment as well. I think it's because of all their apartments they're building and that kind of thing. And they're actually opening a new school and changing lines to Akwani's district. Los Lomas is getting over full, and they're going to be redirecting some students to the couple of other high schools. So that should be a very interesting meeting. Thank you. And anyone else who's interested is welcome to come.
Thank you.
I'd just like to mention a couple things. Apologies for Kathy not to get my list updated here. Attending the EFO meeting, it was a good experience, and Carol was there, and a good reminder of how challenging raising funds is, and the logistics of it, and appreciation to all those who spend so much time on it. I had some Wagner Ranch time between the last meetings. I didn't make the Rotary event, but I did make the Wildlife Days at Wagner Ranch with my kids and some friends' kids. It was a great event. And the Wagner Ranch Parents Club meeting is worth mentioning because earlier was mentioned the impacts of kindergarten on Wagner Ranch and its after-school program, something that was discussed there in a way that made clear that that they were satisfied with their ability to handle that impact.
Good, I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, and so that was, I think, important to hear. And so I bring that back to the board. And then I just have to say that next week I'm on the Malakoff 4th grade trip with Sleepy Hollow.
Wow.
We talked about technology last night. 3 days without wireless connection. I think it's probably the biggest challenge for the parents. Cooking, tents, that's not a challenge. Looking forward to that.
Thank you. Superintendent.
Thank you. I'm not going to duplicate to save time, so two things that I didn't hear mentioned. Well, one, I do want to acknowledge that on the personnel assignment order today, we had Ed's retirement listed. We want to thank Ed for his years of service to the district. He's going to be leaving us 21 years.
Really?
Wow.
We're feeling sorry for ourselves.
Future questions. Then the other comment is in our ongoing efforts to articulate with the high school district, we had another meeting with the Orinda school districts and the Akalani's district to articulate on math and science. Kathy Marshall and Michael Randall attended, and it's amazing from last year to this year what's been accomplished at aligning our math programs and our textbook adoptions and so forth. And so I want to thank all of them in the high school district for working together with us in a really good way.
Thank you. Okay, now it's time for board members to propose future agenda items.
I would like to bring up the Wagner Ranch Nurture Area Board Policy Review, which was already mentioned by someone in the public today, and it would be good to have that on their future agenda. Also, facilities, we already talked about that, but and the wireless. And in addition to just the facilities portion of it, I would like to have some sort of technology discussion next meeting as we are presented with our budget, so that we can understand more intelligently from our tech director the staffing issues, if we have any, and since we're asked by parents. But anyway, I'm not going to give a lecture on it, but the tech
Got it.
tech update regarding that staffing and tech in general. And then also, of course, the budget, and some chance to talk about budget priorities. And we wanted to say if there's any time before our June 8th meeting that we could include something about our budget, that would be helpful.
I'd like to see the nature area policy as well.
Good. Jason.
No new lives.
Great. The board's now going to reconvene into closed session. Oh, I got this. While we reconvene to closed session, we'd like to reconvene in honor of the memory of OAS employee Holly Wilkie, who passed away Friday, May 8th after a long illness. She served in the district since 2005 as a special services assistant. We'll now reconvene back into closed.
Thank you, everyone, for coming.
And I knew nobody would be here, so.
Oh, I see. Oh.
Well, did you know what she did you know what she did? So the final board meeting, and I skipped the board meeting, raced upstairs. Really?
That's part of the 10,000
So I just.
Is your card plugged?
Hi there.